Here we go. Right, we're going live, everyone. Right, I want to show off. We got electric cable running here. Look, I want to show off T-shirt. That Justice. It comes out backwards. Justice for Ellie. And if you see here, look, Justice for Ellie. And I'm going to get told off for graffitiing. Well, it's not graffitiing, just sort of defacing someone's shed. So I'm going to have the shed police on me. Right, let's let the viewing figures go up. Right, we're nearly at 100 already. Hello, Elaine, Sam, Ziggy. I like the name Ziggy. Tracy. Hello, Tracy. Lenore. Hello, Lenore. Paula. Hello, Paula. Hello, sir. Hello, my friend. How are you? How are you? Shirley. John. And hello, Jono. Right, we'll just let it run up to the 200, and then we'll start with tonight's podcast. Hello, Dylan. You know, Dylan and Jay are part of our team there. Jenny.
Hi.
And, this is Jenny, and I'll do a formal introduction in a second with Jenny. We'll just let you go up a few more. Hello, Kieran. How are you, my friend? Kieran. Big D to the A, Davey. Right, three more in the room. And there we are, have it. Vanda, hello Vanda, you're our 200th viewer. You can get the first free mug. How's that sound? Right, so here we are today. We're in North London, and like advertised, we have an exclusive interview. And before we start, I just want to say a big shout out to all those in Barrow Inverness with the Justice for Ellie. Here we are. I'm supporting Ellie, and we got Ellie's thing there. So a big shout out to everyone out in Barrow Inverness, and let's see what we can do to show our support where it's needed. I'm going to be having a chat on Friday about quite an unfortunate incident. After the interview with Jeanette that we did, it just skyrocketed, phenomenal. But someone that's part of our team who claimed to be helping has just turned and has been aggressive and threatened Jeanette, myself, and a few others, and it's very, very unfortunate. Unfortunately, this is something that when we are sort of going into the realms of going on, there's going to be many people with unresolved traumas and their own issues that. If we listen to what Corrine said the other day, she goes on about infiltration and how it works, how people will infiltrate and they will try and set the rot from inside, and this is exactly what has happened, and it's been very unsettling for all involved. I mean, I'm sort of battle hardened to it now, but it really was a knee trembler for poor Jeanette, and how disgusting that this so-called ex-soldier claiming to be a brave guy has decided to threaten a vulnerable woman. How absolutely appalling. He should be ashamed of himself. Again, he knows who he is, and the rest of a lot of the viewers out there know who he is. So he will be blocked from everything we do, and it's just absolutely disgusting. And this is an example of what happens. So hopefully we have such a tight-knit following now that we can self-support, and we all come to each other's aid when these things happen, which is exactly what has happened here. And we've got enough brave, tough guys, proper guys, that will stand up and will offer their protection to the vulnerable, unlike this person. It's just appalling. But that's just something which I didn't really want to mention, but it had to be mentioned because it's not good at all. Anyway, with me is my old friend, Jenny.
Hiya.
We've known each other for quite a while. Jenny was one of the very first people I spoke to when I started going into this remit. Jenny is a friend of a friend, and a friend of mine gave me a book and said, please read this book. The book is called...
It was called Nowhere to Belong by Harmony Books.
Yep, which is your author
Pen name, yeah. It was my pen name. The book is off the market now as I'm rewriting it.
But the edition I read was... it was uncomfortable reading, Jenny, if you don't mind me saying that. No. You know. I just want to give a little preface before I hand over, Jenny. Jenny, am I right in saying you're like first generation Caribbean to the UK?
No.
No. It was your parents were they?
My grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother, right. Jennie was placed into care in, was it the late 60s?
Yeah.
Late 60s. And she was placed in a very affluent part of the UK, in Buckinghamshire. A very sort of Middle England environment, as it were, you know, little village church, cricket green and all that. And Jennie was placed under the care of a couple that went on, am I right in saying they went on to win a national award for services to what they class as children of difference?
Yeah, children of difference, yeah.
Children of difference, which meaning black, Asian and disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they won an award because they were just tremendous British citizens and they did so much benevolent work. The old man was ex-military guy. He was very heavily involved in the local church, and for all intents and purposes from the outside it looked perfect, but it wasn't at all. So,
not at all.
So Jennie, thank you for coming. It's Jennie's first time publicly and speaking out. Jennie is...
It's not my first time.
Oh, isn't it?
No.
Oh well, go on, you crack on. You tell
Sorry.
us. Let's go right back to the beginning, Jennie. So just talk about your family to start with and how you ended up.
Before I speak, and I just want to read this out, and then you'll understand the reason behind this.
Right.
It's something I wrote. It's about how we are now. We hurt and we ache for the lost childhoods we've had to encounter because of the epidemic of sexual abuse, but more because of people's silence regarding sexual abuse. It is horrible to see how some professionals would rather put a sticky plaster over our pain rather than let us talk and be heard. We were made to feel ashamed, and when someone avoids your pain as an adult, those feelings of abandonment is only too real again. As a victim of CSA and SRA, sorry, forgive me, I think of them at school now, is like everything you were taught about yourself, the world, your experiences, you're now having to train yourself to delete those negative thoughts as adults, with no training, no understanding, because it doesn't fit comfortably with other people.
Yeah.
You kind of become an innocent child again in an adult's body, with many of your parts trying to navigate the world, not knowing which direction to take, and sometimes in conflict with all the parts of us. I call it the internal tattoo. There will be testing from us as we try to trust, as trust isn't natural. We've had to survive a war, and still are, many of us. We subconsciously do its survival, something we automatically do to protect ourselves, and people have to earn our trust. Some people don't hold out for the length of time to prove whether they're genuine or not, and that adds to our pain. We have a tendency in society to help the relatively easy cases because we can't cope with not being able to sort people out. We are survivors. We don't always need sorting out. We just need to understand. We just need to be accepted and enabled. And being enabled is to hear us, to allow us to speak. We've had to live at this life, and and we've had to live with it all our life, throughout our lives, with being rejected by yourselves because you don't want to hear, and being rejected by the people that abused us. The effects it has on our as adults and as our families is unbelievable. And I just want to start with my life. I was born in Buckinghamshire. I don't remember much about my life. I was put into care when I was 6 months old. I was first put into care with a nanny and a doctor. And they seem to say on my social worker records, it says I was a bright, intelligent little baby and always loved to smile. Then the nanny hurt her leg and she couldn't look after me anymore. So I was put into care with the most horrific, cold couple I've ever met. This couple were... They were idolised by people.
Yeah.
They were worshipped. Oh, how could you look after these, wayward children? Always commenting on us being in a negative way. Wherever we went, they took us, and it wasn't very often they took us out if we had to go to the doctors or we had to go to the clinic to be assessed or the hospital. and the people would always congratulate them and, you know, think they were these famous people because they looked after people like us. There was, when I first went into the care home, apparently there was 6 of us. We had a we lived in a 3-bedroom house. They had the main bedroom, which was like, it was just like a Hollywood's house, bedroom. It had everything in it you could ask for. Then we had the middle bedroom, which was kept for their grandchildren. And then we had the box room, where at night time we had the opportunity to sleep in. The box room was about 9 foot by 6 foot, 1 bunk bed and a little cot if there was a baby in at times. We all had to sleep head to tail in this bunk bed. Sometimes me being the provider had to look after the other children. So
How old was you?
I was about 3 years old when I started
old.
to look after the other children. And I wasn't even the eldest. Some of them were so damaged by what they did. I remember the first time they hurt me, and it was we were never allowed to use the bathroom. They had a separate bath and a separate toilet. This time, the foster father came home and went to the shed and pulled me out and led me upstairs.
Can you mention about the shed? Because it's
The shed was, but it was our home. The children like us.
they put you in the shed during the day.
They put us in the shed during the day. From the time we got up, we would be ushered to the shed, and then we would be, from the age of 5, we were taught how to prepare vegetables and wash up and clean the house. So that, and my gosh, if we did it wrong, say like we had to have the vegetables cut precisely, and if we did it wrong, he would either smack us in the mouth, kick us in the mouth. He would literally rip into us. So we kind of like had to do it so precise, and he'd watch over us. And then we were kind of like, so from there we would put into the shed first thing in the morning, and then about 7:30 in the morning we would be allowed to go into the kitchen to prepare their breakfast. We weren't allowed to ever eat with them. And from that we were led back into the shed, and sometimes we would escape from the shed and watch them eat, because somehow it helped us to fill our bellies, you know, watch a salvation over their food. And then we were called in, and this family had loads and loads of pets and loads of dogs, and the kitchen and the house was filthy. But when we were called in after they finished, they would allow us to have the bits that they left, and some of it was chewed, some of it was spat out, and we had to eat in the dog bowls on the floor on all fours, where they mocked us, kicked us. They would move the dog bowls further afield and have a great laugh. And I say that was their older children and some of their grandchildren. We were kind of like this show that they kind of like loved to take the mickey out of. When from being put in the shed, this time I was the only one allowed out the shed, and he led me upstairs to the bathroom, and we knew that in his bag that he brought home from work, he had chocolate in it. And I really thought he did kind of like, I was having a bath. I've never sat in a bath, having water.
How old was you, Jen?
I was about 3 or 4, and this water pouring over me and all this dirt coming off of me. And I felt maybe I was accepted then. But then he brought the chocolate bar out and inserted it into me. My sister must have escaped from the shed because couldn't have locked the gate, and she came upstairs and she asked what that blood was in the bath, and he said that it was the evil coming out of me. From there, then on, abuse occurred quite often, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. It started off with him using objects to full penetration from the when I was about 6, 7. My sisters and brothers, my foster sisters and brothers, I had one sister who was my half sister who lived with me. My mum, my birth mum, was only 13 when she had me. I was a child of a secret affair. My dad was a pastor, married with 6 children, and I came along, and my sister comes along. My grandmother, my birth grandmother, sold my mum to pay for her keep. So I was this hidden secret, a shame to everybody, couldn't even reach out to them. As more children came into the home, I felt obliged to look after them. I remember one time one of my sisters absolutely crying her heart out, and I felt the pain, I didn't know what to do. So I said I'd take her place when I'd be abused. And this happened so many times that I took their place because they couldn't cope. And then I became quite angry about who would just look after me. Nobody gave me a hug, nobody sung to me. I was the one who kind of like cared for them in the shed. You know, we had it was a little coal bunker shed. You know the ones where you put the coal lid down from the chimney.
What was it made of? Concrete?
It was concrete, yeah, but it was cold and it was leaking from the roof. And there was spiders in it, and it was so damp. We had a big bottle like this full of water in the corner, and that we had to share. And we knew that we had a week to share this between us. We couldn't. So we had to take in turns to take zips.
Who were the other children?
There was my sister, me, and at times other foster children. Sometimes there would be 10 of us in that little shed. There was one chair in that shed which was soaking, disgusting.
Were they all black children, or were they mixed?
They were black children and disabled children. And there was a time when we we tried to escape, and we were knocking at the door, knocking, and I think one of the neighbours came round and said they could hear children and could they quiet it down. Oh. So because of that, we were taken upstairs and we were beaten like nobody's business, each and every one of us beaten, and we learned to live in silence.
In a shed, in a garden.
I used to sing to my sisters in the shed, but very quietly, in a whisper, because they were scared. Because I would say my sisters, Ruth and my 2 sisters, we grew up long term together. We were in there the longest. Other children left and came and left. So I used to sing to them. But the pain was just too heavy. They used to take us to church every Sunday. Blue dress, little white socks. We didn't have much hair, but they stuck this massive ribbon in the middle of our scalp when didn't we stand out anyway? They took us to church, and when we went through the doors of the church, the vicar used to always comment about, how wonderful they were. Oh. And, we're praying for these children. We're praying for these children, Amazing, amazing people. And I kind of like, it used to make me so angry because I used to think, why can't people see? And yet nobody saw or didn't want to see the pain we were going through behind those doors. The age of 7, 8, I took my first overdose. It was during the time he hurt me so badly, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think, and I must have blacked out a couple of times. And he banged my head against the wall to wake me up, and in the middle of the night, I went down to the stairs and I knew where all the medication was, in the larder in the kitchen, and took some tablets, and he caught me, and he helped feed more tablets down my throat. During that time, I remember passing out and waking up, and the ambulance was there, and they were nice to me. They were lovely. They mopped my brow. They talked to me like a person, like a child. And this was what I thought. This was my escape. Every time things got bad, I could take a little overdose and have that nicety. But it was a rod for my own back in so many ways, because I began to talk in a way that not revealing everything, because it wasn't just my foster parents, it was other people he introduced me to, and I can't go into those sort of
there's
reasons.
legal parameters around what Jennie can say, because this is going further.
But you know, it was the fact that my foster father used to say that I was going mad and take me to the doctors and ask for sedation for me. They used to force me, you know, the other people and him, with drink and drugs, so they could do whatever they wanted to me. At the age of 11, I became pregnant, and I wasn't aware that I was pregnant at the time, because what I now know is the foster the foster person, I'm sorry to say,
No.
the foster person actually had a notebook of when we had our monthlies. And
Well, she kept a diary.
yeah, she kept a diary, and she always used to pull down our knickers to see what if we.
And she'd done that before, hadn't she?
Yeah. She actually prepared us for him to take. She always laid us out in the bedroom for him to take. During the so I had this back street. I was driven in a car by a social worker into this house, and I thought I was being treated. I thought I'd got there. I thought I was pure. I thought I wasn't evil anymore, and this is my treat. Only to find out that was up the stairs I went and told to take my knickers off. Ordered by this woman. In this home which smelt so clinical, and waking up in pain, absolute pain. When I got home, I don't remember the journey back home. I was locked up in a airing cupboard upstairs, a little airing cupboard, and that was my punishment, because I nearly let the secret out. Then the punishment became a game to many of them, where they would have fun by having a seance and, you know, trying to get the evil out from some of the people from the church. I know now this wasn't a real church, and it was like us children, and they'd go round and round praying over us, and then fall into the ground, and that was because they were touched by the evil from us.
Who were these people?
I can't go into that.
No. Okay.
No.
Got you. No, I shouldn't have asked.
But you know, and then I was so after the abortion, my behaviour began to become quite erratic. I was angry, and I was ready to tell everybody, but somebody beat me to the post. 2 foster children who went back to their parents and reported these foster family to social services. The police came up to the school because by that time me and my 2 sisters was classed as acutely retarded, and we were put in a school for severe special needs, and that was our schooling for the time I left. You know, so my sister, I've lost track, sorry.
You've gone on to the special school.
Yeah, I went to the special school, and my behaviour became really, really erratic. The headmaster knew there was something going on at home, and he wanted us removed from the foster home. But every avenue they just went down. Because of my behaviour, weekends I had to go to a naughty person's hostel. Yeah, and where we had holidays, and you know, and these holidays were again very similar. At night times, when I was at the foster home, we'd get picked up and would be taken around different places, and all I ask is, the police don't believe me, lots of people don't believe me, but my social worker says, you know, they knew that I was being abused. We were being abused. And there were previous children before we even went there. Yeah. And everybody can read my social worker records and saying that we were being abused. And they were told, the Malts were concerned because we had an infection because of the abuse. And the social services, in my notes, says to bathe us in salt water. You know, so they knew what was happening. And all this time we were told they didn't. We were the ones who were lying, you know, even to this day. My behaviour became so bad. When I was 12, I was sectioned into hospital because I was naughty. I was given ECT, electrical. Yeah.
They give you electrical shock therapy.
Yeah, and doped up on medication. Before that, I became a selective mute, so only my sisters ever heard me talk. I didn't talk to anybody else, and I used my eyes to tell people my pain until he started sellotaping them up and saying my eyes were evil.
Who was doing that?
My foster father. When I was in the hospital, I was first put on a geriatric ward because there was no room for anybody else. There wasn't any room for anyone else, and during that time, I had to sleep on a ward with old people. I was a child. I'd look to my left, I'd look to my right, I'd look over, and all these old people. Some had been there for years and years, and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand it. And nobody explained, and nurses, all they explained was I was naughty. You know, I was a child who didn't deserve this. My sisters, my brothers didn't deserve this. But it went on, and all the time they blamed us. We had labels, so many labels. Acutely retarded, educationally subnormal, you know, you name it. You know, I was wrongly diagnosed with schizophrenia, which meant I was on heavy medication. But in some ways it helped me because I used it so I didn't have to think. I didn't have to fight the system. I didn't have to use, you know, I was numb to everything. 15 years old, I had a child. Beautiful, beautiful girl. I then knew I had to talk, and I had to say something was happening. And actually, I've just missed the big gap about the foster children who went to.
Oh, that's okay. Do you want to go back to it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They actually. So the police came up to the school, and there was a policeman, my headmaster, Mr. Hart, and me, and asked, did we know anything about the abuse going on?
In the home, in your home.
My first instincts were, gosh, we're going to be free. And then absolute fear, because I remember what he told me, what if we told. So I said.
What was it he said?
He said that we'd be locked up, and then he would kill himself. We've seen death. I'm afraid I can't go into that.
No.
I never would want it on anybody, not even him at the time. So we said, but we've seen it happen to the other children. And I said that, and my other sister, who's long term, actually said the same, because we were interviewed separately. Never discussed it before, but we both said the same thing. It wasn't happening to us, but it was happening to the other children. They were free, they were able to go back to their homes, so they were safe. And we were promised that they would never tell the foster parents what we said. The time we got home, they knew what we said.
How did they know?
Someone told them.
Someone inside told them, yeah.
We got through the front door, he got the part of my hair and wrapped his finger, because we only had a little bit of hair, and he dragged me up the stairs. And he hurt me so badly. I couldn't move out my bed for nearly 10 days. I was so much in pain. After that, I spent about 3 or 4 years going in and out of hospital. Sometimes there would be people come to the house, sedate me with drink and drugs, take me to places, dress me up. Can you go in that bag? There's a photo in that bag, a little photo. Dress me up, and then rape me by different people. And then I'd wake up in a psychiatric hospital. Not the same one, all over. I remember one of them, Fairmile. Fairmile, I think it's about the Fairmile Hospital. Horrible place. St John's Hospital in Thames, Stone.
We're on about Buckinghamshire, aren't we? In Oxfordshire area.
Reading, Battle Street Hospital. Centre of different hospitals, and then different labels each time. Sedated, numb, And I became pregnant at the age of 15, and my beautiful, beautiful girl. This is.
Do you want me to put it onto the camera? Come.
This is me at the age of 14, dressed up, makeup on, sedated, ready to go to a party, to be abused, and a fake smile I had to present myself. This was waiting to go up. We was in a hotel waiting to go upstairs.
Do you remember what the hotel was, Jenny?
No.
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 Sorry.
So I had my daughter. But before all that, my foster parents used to tell me what to say and what not to say. So I had to make up this fabrication that I had a boyfriend when I went to the doctors, and this boyfriend was abusive towards me, and so that I need to go back to staying with the Malts, because I was in, as I said, I went away to these naughty children's places when they couldn't cope with me, and to be abused there as well. I had my daughter, and my foster mum took control, and she tried her damnedest to get a hold of Monique and take her as hers, even to the point that I don't remember, but I remember going down to the registry office to sign Monique's birth. She came along, and the name they put in, the surname as theirs, not mine. When Monique, I kept on telling social services that my daughter was going to be hurt. Sorry, I didn't mean to say. My daughter was going to be hurt, and they wouldn't believe me because I was mad. I had labels. I was crazy, and so I'd be taken to hospital again and given more medication because I wasn't coping very well. And my beautiful daughter stayed at theirs. In the end,
the noise is just for the NHS. I think people don't know.
In the end, it was I had to make a choice because he was beginning to groom her.
We're on about your foster father or whatever he is.
She was born for him and the paedophile ring. And during that, I couldn't go to hospital anymore. I used to run away from hospital because I was under a section and be found and taken back. And they stopped me from seeing Monique many a time because of that. So I had to make a choice. I'll be good in hospital. I can be discharged. And then I had to say to social services I was hurting my daughter, so she could be taken away.
Oh.
She was taken away. I had to save her. I couldn't allow her to go through what I went through. The pain was so heavy, so heavy. I had a phantom pregnancy because I missed her so much. I really thought I was pregnant. The world seemed to hate me. There was nobody there to help me understand all this or to support me. I was like this freak, and when all I wanted to do was understand what was going on, find someone to help me, rescue us, and, so we could all stay together. I would have looked after them. But I was always, and even to this day, classed as stupid, treated as stupid, not included because of the labels. Every time we go and have a new doctor or I go into hospital, because I've had to have operations to rectify some of the damage that's been done, I have to prove that I'm not schizophrenic, even though the labels, my diagnosis got changed to post-traumatic stress almost 10 years ago. I still have to prove to people.
I want to say that earlier in the year I did contact a hospital and said exactly that to them. I said, this is a very intelligent, articulate woman, she's an acclaimed author, do not take her for a fool, please treat her with respect. And they actually did start to listen. I think another guy did the same. Yeah.
But it's basically I've lost so much. We all have lost so much, survivors of abuse. But what we've lost is voices from other people.
Yeah. Yes.
Or have we ever had them? We've had a few, but we haven't got people supporting us.
No.
You know, to deal with this, to have therapy, which we deserve to have therapy, because this wasn't our fault.
No.
But we have to fight for that. Why is that? We have to fight, prove that we're worthy to have therapy. You know, not only me having therapy, my children, my son, he's the most precious boy in the world. He's gorgeous, and he's 20, nearly 21, and he's had to move with me each time because we've been found and hurt, and he's had to witness that. This is why I'm going on here, to stop this from happening. You know, we aren't in the wrong. You are. You people who've hurt us and hurt other people, you are in the wrong. I know, you know, if people want to troll people, well, I'm sorry, pity you.
Yeah.
You know, because that is just pathetic. I just think we've got to get off our asses.
Yes.
And start, you know, stamping this out, and together we can do that. But if we keep on saying, oh no, it's not, it's just, I don't want to hear that, that's too bad, or it doesn't make me feel comfortable, then, well, sorry loves, but we've had to live with it.
Jenny,
we've had to live with all this all our life. My son is 21. He's had to go through horrific stuff, watching me be hurt, me being taken to hospital for 3 months because I'd been beaten to the pulp and I was in a coma. He didn't know whether I was alive, and they didn't tell him that. So, you know, you imagine the damage it's done to him, but can he get help? No. No. Every time we go and seek help, they say, well, what's the problem? We go into it, well, let's see what there is, and he will go into the situation. No. The damage that causes when someone says, tell me a bit about your story, because we want to help, and then nothing. See us as human beings with needs, as just like everybody else. If you really believe this is wrong, there would be services to support us. There would be life to understand and to enable us to live and to be better parents, to be better people in this world because of the damage that other people have made. My son is traumatised. I'm traumatised because it's just, we don't know how to, you know, deal with the pain. You know, it's the internal tattoo. My social worker records, when I got them, it took me 10 years to get hold of my social worker records. It says in there, these children are being abused by the foster parents. But because they are diagnosed with because they are acutely retarded, we will leave them in there because it will not cause them long-term effect. Is that good enough? Doesn't matter if I was acutely retarded. Nobody deserves to be abused. None of us. I say, come on. I'm frustrated at hearing it. I'm frustrated at hearing, I don't know. I heard a noise last night, and I think one of the children are being hurt, but I didn't do anything because I didn't want the trouble.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. The trouble is us. The trouble is the future. We've all got a duty to stop this. I'm tired with excuses.
Yes.
Tired.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying to you, and I would say this as well. If you want to bully and troll, pity you. What sad creatures if you do that. But all I'm saying is you buck up and you start supporting us children. And us children, I'm an adult, but I still got my broken parts and I've still got my damaged children parts in me. You start supporting us. Thank you.
But there's something you said the other day. You was telling someone what you was going through or what you've been through, and they told you to shut up because they was eating their dinner.
Yeah, they told me they don't want to hear this because it'll put me off my dinner.
Put them off their dinner.
My gosh. And they think that's okay. We can cope with comments like that. The comments we hear, oh, it's the past, move on. Who says that's okay to say that? The past is the future if we aren't allowed to deal with it.
Jenny, can we give a big call out to those that are really debating whether or not to speak out?
I would say to you, you know, having your voice is so important. It's empowering. It enables you to walk forward. You know, don't be afraid. There will always, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy because there will always be bullies and trolls. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've survived. We've survived this. So what those bullies and trolls are, they're pathetic. And see them as that. So every time we see a bully and troll, laugh at them because they're pathetic. We are here and we're here to, you know, make some noise and change the system.
I mean, what I don't mind is I'll quite happily finish off, Jen, if you want to go and take a breather. If we just unclip that, Jen.
Thank you.
Right, I'll just let, if we can just let Jen out there. Jenny, you're plugged into an electric blanket, yeah?
Yeah,
So, don't want to electrocute me, you to get up. Right, I'm going to let Jenny have a break, and I want to just finish this off. I think, you know, Jenny deserves a break now, and she needs. Luckily, we've got Jeanette. If we all remember Jeanette has turned up to provide support, support here. So just right. So we'll just get. We just got a little. Anyway, so usually what I would do is I would have recapped and gone through it, but there is absolutely no need to do it. Jenny is clearly one of the most intelligent and articulate people that I know. Jenny has done nothing, but she's even supported me when I had problems at home. She was calling me up and encouraging me to go on, despite all she's gone through. You know, she had that in her to do that. Sorry, I've just got nonsense coming up on the screen. We just run through. I'm pretty speechless, really, and that doesn't happen often. And I've heard a lot, you know, especially from my working career and since. This is a woman that was, at the age of 3 years old, placed with a family that were violent, emotional, and sexually abusive. There is other stuff that Jenny can't talk about, but I think if you watch Jeanette's testimony, you will get an idea. And Jenny has actually corroborated a lot of what Jeanette said, so that gives you a gauge on also what Jenny went through as well. She was kept in a shed. There was a whole collective of these little kids. They were all kids from I think Jenny's family are from the small islands in the Caribbean, and they were all kids. They were either black, Asian, or they were disabled kids. They were put in a shed. And there was no toilet, there was no blankets, there was nothing. Jenny was looking after a baby. This family went on to get recognition for their services to children with difference. They were in a middle class area of Buckinghamshire in which neighbours heard what was going on. I mean, you know, even if you do something in your garden, you know, you get the busybody, the curtain twitchers that look out and see what you're doing. They know everything you're doing. And you tell me that they didn't know that these kids were in there? And this guy was then renting these kids out and doing all sorts, and then taking them to backstreet abortions. And I mean, you've heard it. It is absolutely incredulous, unbelievable. Jenny, as you can see, is suffering to this day. She is the first one to step up and help. She has encouraged so many people, victims and survivors. She is always there on our team. She's always ringing me up as well to make sure I'm all right. This is a woman of nothing but pure compassion and love, you know, and we really need to stop all this. You know, enough is enough. It really is enough. This has to go on. She has sanctions on her because of the people that were involved. And you can only draw an inference from what I've been talking about. We'll link in with what Jenny is saying. And you've only got to look at the RAINS list to know that. When I was with Nikki on the street, we were talking about a police inspector that was procuring children at 500 quid a time. You know, we were talking about a detective chief inspector from the Vice unit that is on the RAINS list, the satanic list. There are college lecturers, there are university professors, there are doctors, you know, all on that list. You know, come on people, you need to wake up, stop being comfortable and wake up. This is going on even to this day. This is going on. Jenny is a living testimony of this awful trade. Don't look at Africa, don't look at the Caribbean and Haiti, don't look at anywhere else. This is going on in Middle England, in someone's back garden, in a middle class part of an outskirt of London. This is where this is going on. This has to stop. Now, there'll be people out there that want to get in touch. I implore people, if we want change, and speak out, use me as a conduit. Let's get this letter writing campaign going. Let's expose Satanism and what it's doing. You know, in the name of Jesus Christ, this has to and will stop if we do something about it. If we walk away, it continues. So stop sitting on your asses and do something. And you know, shame, I'm going to name this guy, Keenan Thompson, you have got a nerve even putting a message on here. You're a despicable, horrible individual. Do not put any more messages ever on my site again, because you are the troll that Jenny was on about. Okay, you disgusting man. And I don't do this often, but I'm charged. I've had enough of it. And it's people like him that cause a lot of problems and a lot of heartache. And you have got poor Jeanette in absolute terrors. So don't you dare post anything on my channel ever again. You vile, vile man. Right, so I want people to get in touch with me. I can pass on your well wishes to Jenny. Jenny, again, cannot work. She is supporting her son, who's 21 years old. Okay, he works, but he suffers a lot as well. If anyone wishes to make a donation to Jenny, please get in touch. I can put you in touch with Jenny and supply some bank details where she can at least get a little bit of funding. It's not about the money, but if you want to and you feel the need to help Jenny out, financial support is always a good way. And if anyone needs to sort of come forward and maybe chat with Jenny and all that, maybe we can sort this out, but we have to be wary of trigger points and everything else. So please, please, please come forward. This is what we do. We're kind people, we're benevolent people, and we are putting the story out there, and we really are. Okay, this has to stop, and it has to stop now, and no more trolling. This has to stop. People need to grow up, and they need to act like adults here. And thank you to absolutely everyone. We have been running at nearly 700 hits. I no doubt that this will go absolutely viral. This will also form part of a documentary for Netflix. Okay, and you know, hopefully, you know, Jenny will at least get the recognition. She's going to be rewriting her book. When she does, hopefully we'll put her in touch. Maybe Sean Atwood has got his publishing company. Maybe he'll take it on, and let's get her book as a bestseller, because her written account is absolutely jaw-droppingly horrific, and it really is. But she is a testimony to courage, to decency. She's now gone with the team and she's praying now, and God bless her, God bless her, and God bless you all. Please stay strong, and if you need to speak, please speak up. We've got would you I'm going to pass on Jeanette. Are you happy to come and just
sure?
And we've got Jeanette here. Jeanette has come to support Jeanette, here we go. I've sort of shouted out about, let me just click that on there. Right, Jeanette, now you know, since your testimony's gone out, I mean, the response has been absolutely unbelievable. Jenny's come today, and really, for the first time in ages, I'm absolutely lost for words. I mean,
yeah, I'm shaken up, really shaken up. I mean, and the effects it's just had on her, you know, now is off the scale, because she's so used to being silenced. She can't cry, she can't express anything. She's just in there, a complete and utter wreck now.
You know, and in respect to what Jenny's been through, it ties in so much what you... There's a lot she can't talk about for obvious reasons. It does tie in with some of your experiences. Yeah. We need to call out for people that are frightened to come forward.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to people that want to help or want to speak out? Or
yeah, for people that want to speak out, I would say get in touch. There's an incredible support team here, and actually it is 100% the best thing to do for your own healing, because once you find your voice and express yourself in that way, in a safe environment with a safe support team, you will start to progress on your own healing. But what I want to add to it as well, because we're all adults and us survivors all struggle in our own ways, and we all are really scared, because that's what it comes down to. There's still fear attached to having a voice, because when we were children, the consequences of that voice was horrendous, horrific. You've just heard Jenny say about, you know, whatever happened if she spoke out. You know from my story that if I spoke out, I would be threatened with my life. I was threatened with my life and everything horrific that went with how that dying would have gone. But the flip side of the coin for me is where I think the focus needs to be, and I think this is what can really give us the push, survivors the push to come forward, is we are now fighting for the next generation of children. We are now fighting for the other little Bens and Jennies and Jeanettes and the other children that are being trafficked and taken to these farms and taken into satanic rituals. These are now happening to the babies in our world today. The babies, the 1-year-olds, the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, the 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, the 15-year-olds. You know, the 15-year-old boys and girls that have been trafficked and raped and beaten. It's such a horrific problem. It's huge. So I think use that as inspiration. We now need to think about saving the children of the next generation.
The other thing I want to call out to are the partners of these people that are doing abuse. You know, you know, you might be involved in it, but you might not be comfortable with it. Speak out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speak out.
Absolutely.
You know, the time has come. Enough's enough.
Exactly. And I was having this conversation today after the troll incident.
Yeah. I've just mentioned about this.
Pick a side of the fence, because this is what it's about now.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between.
No.
You're either on the right side or the wrong side. And if you're on the wrong side, you know, you need to think about what you're doing. And even if you are one of these people that are colluding with an abuser of children, but you're scared to speak out against that person, just think for a moment what that child's going through. When you find all this stuff difficult to hear and difficult to speak out about, think about what that child's going through. Because unless you've been through this, you will never, ever know just how horrific it is.
I mean, you're getting quite a few people get in touch with you now, Jeanette, aren't you? And there's people that have been on the verge of suicide that have contacted you, you know, and have actually praised you for speaking out. So
yeah, I mean, amazing, because that's what I want. That's why I did it, because I want to inspire other people, you know, to be able to speak out. And a lot of people, well, lots and lots and lots of people have come forward and said thank you, because it has now given them the courage to either get the help they need or speak to a friend. You know, you don't have to come and do this, but, you know, speak to somebody. Yeah. Speak to somebody. Break the silence. And
let's shame the government. Make the government do something. Enough's enough. We pay good money for them to do their job, and they are doing the opposite.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
And just speak out, no matter what it is. If you know someone in your family that is doing this, if you know of these rituals that are going on, you're a partner of the people that are going to these rituals. You know, they might tell you that they're going there because they're into nature and that. They're not. this isn't what they do. You know, the druids, the white witches, no. You know, this is what goes on. And this is just getting all too common. And Jeanette, I've got about 3 more lined up, just all the same.
Yeah.
And the other thing, there's a lady I'm going to speak about, going to go see, and she was, one of the things they did to Jennie and to this other lady was just humiliate her as well.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Jennie, the other day, she rolled up her skirt, not in a naughty way, she rolled it up and showed me her legs. They are covered in cigarette burns all over.
You can see it in other areas as
well.
well.
You can see it on
everywhere.
her, all over her body.
Yeah.
All over. And these people won an award for their services to kids of difference, they said, because they were black kids or they were Asian kids. But she said the disabled kids really got it as well, you know, they really... It's just beyond words.
It is beyond words.
So, listen, look, Jeanette has travelled a long way. You know, we're in the outskirts of northeast London here. She's travelled all this way to support Jennie. You know, we've also got another person which has come and sat down, travelled a long way. We've got a network going on. We've got a community going on here, and we are all sticking together, and we are all helping each other. So, please.
Yeah. Can I just say, can I put a sort of plea out, if you like? If there are any therapists out there that want to help, can you get in touch with me with your qualifications and where you think you can help, and talk that through with me, because we really do need to sort of get more aftercare in place. And Jennie's been a great example of that today. Jennie needs therapy. Jennie needs aftercare. She needs therapy, and she deserves it. She deserves it. So
what Corinne said, he said you need some support network with therapy. She said get them to write like a mission statement, why they want to do it. Corinne is a profiler. She will happily proofread it, and she is trained to identify if there are any paedophiles or satanists that are using it as a conduit to get near a survivor, which is what we can't have.
And I've got a lot of experience with therapists, and I've got a good big therapy network. So
and you can sniff out a wrong 'un from 500 paces, can't you?
My PEDAR.
Yeah, PEDAR. Do you know it's PEDAR? You should sell that, painting that. You make a fortune. The PEDAR. You know. But the PEDAR. You'll paint the PEDAR 2000.
Got your PEDAR on.
Right. So anyway, look, you know, thank you for coming here today, and you can see what's happened. Jennie is in pieces next door. Well, I shouldn't say that because but it's not. She's just getting a bit of support. She's been desperate to speak out in this manner, and she is actually under a legal restraint because she can name people. So that's why at the moment she's only given us half of what she's been through. So, but please get in touch. Jeanette, you've got Jeanette, so it's Jeanette.21. I know that bit at live.co.uk. Yeah, I've written it down so many times now. So
you said it so many times.
Right. Anyway, so
and it's on my page, on the SRA page, is my email and contact details. So yeah, whatever you feel you can do. I get asked all the time, what can I do to help? So anything that you feel you can do to help, you can see quite clearly where the gaps are, then let us know.
And God bless everyone, and hopefully we'll speak soon. Bye bye everyone.